The Muslim Congress. Nigerian leaders call for peace as Muslims celebrate Eid al-Kabir. NHRC receives petitions against SARS. In international news, 8 dead in Italy flooding. And in sports, FIFA to monitor NFF operations, shelve ban on Nigeria.
This is ANN News.
I am Rotimi Akintunde. As Nigerian Muslims join the rest of the world to celebrate Eid al-Kabir, the Muslim Congress TMC has urged them to use the occasion of Eid al-Adha to reflect on socio-economic problems such as massive unemployment, rising incidents of poverty and insecurity of lives and property. The Congress also appealed to Muslims to remember the memorable lessons of devotion, dedication, commitment, and nation building exemplified by Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him. The group's leader, Luqman Abdurrahim, said the celebration is an opportunity to empathize with both Muslims and non-Muslims through sharing and giving by providing assistance to those in need. Ogun State Governor Ibikunle Amosun and his counterparts in Osun, Ondo and Kwara States, Rauf Aregbesola, Rotimi Akeredolu and Abdul Fattah Ahmed, have urged Muslims to pray for unity and peaceful coexistence among Nigerians as they mark this year's Eid al-Kabir. Aregbesola urged Muslim faithful to continue to pray for those things that would promote the unity of the country and pray against things that would threaten its existence. Akeredolu said Muslims should extend their hands of fellowship to the underprivileged in the society, while his counterpart in Kwara, Governor Ahmed, asked Muslims to imbibe the lessons of total submission. Other leaders in the southwest region urged Muslims to make positive impact on their neighbors and the society. In the northern part of Nigeria, Bauchi State Governor Mohammed Abubakar and other regional leaders have called on Muslims to use the Eid al-Kabir occasion to imbibe the spirit of forgiveness, humility and respect for one another. He said the religion of Islam propagates submission to the will of Allah and peaceful coexistence with fellow human beings. Meanwhile, Police Commissioner in Bauchi State has deployed 3,000 police officers and personnel to provide adequate security of lives and property to residents of the state before, during and after the Eid al-Kabir celebrations. To enable hitch-free celebrations in Yobe State, Governor Ibrahim Gaidam has placed a 12-hour restriction on vehicular movement in the state. Yobe is one of the northeast states battling with a deadly terror group, Boko Haram. Here in Lagos, Governor Akinwumi Ambode, the Speaker of Lagos State House of Assembly, Mudashiru Obasa, the Senator representing the Lagos East District, Gbenga Shafa, and other representatives in the state have called on Muslims to embrace the values of sacrifice, unity, tolerance, and love as they celebrate the Eid al-Kabir. The leaders in their solemn messages added that the season should be used to display selfless service. Ambode said the Eid al-Kabir was a clarion call for Nigerians to imbibe selfless service to God and humanity, sacrifice and sincere commitment to righteous conduct in their lives. He asked them to shun any act capable of inciting the policy. As Muslims celebrate, politics in the country is becoming more interesting every day. The spat between the All Progressives Congress, APC, National Leader Asiwaju Bola Tinubu and Senate President Bukola Saraki got messier on Monday, with Senator Saraki accusing Tinubu of attacking him because he opposed his proposed Muslim ticket with then presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari in the last elections. Saraki was reacting to Sunday's statement by Tinubu, who claimed Saraki defected to opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP, because he wanted an automatic return. Saraki claimed that Tinubu also confessed that Buhari excluded him from the APC-led federal government, saying personal interest was the main reason Tinubu was supporting Buhari's re-election. Tinubu's media team reportedly refused to react on Monday when called for its response to Saraki's claim. Meanwhile, Sokoto State Governor Aminu Tambuwal has also hit back at the former Lagos State Governor Bola Tinubu, accusing him of trying to rock the boat when he was denied the opportunity of being President Muhammadu Buhari's running mate in 2015. Tambuwal said on Twitter, quote, if I wanted to, and if the presidency is why Ahmed Tinubu thinks I defected, I could contest with President Buhari under APC. I have what it takes to have contested with Mr. President." End quote. President Muhammadu Buhari has directed security agencies to step up their battle to secure the country. He gave the directive in Abuja on Monday during a security meeting held amid reports of security threats ahead of Eid-el-Kabir celebration. As a result, many states have taken steps to guarantee hitch-free celebrations. Buhari has also promised Nigerians that he would never surrender to corruption. He said fighting corruption was a task that must be done to protect the larger interest of the ordinary Nigerians, whom he said were the worst victims of diseases, poverty and other afflictions. He urged Muslims to use the Eid-el-Kabir for sober reflections and self-examination and strive to be good ambassadors of their religion by upholding high moral values. The National Human Rights Commission has received 17 petitions from members of the public in Port Harcourt on alleged judicial killings, molestation and torture by operatives of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS. The Commission has begun a public hearing into complaints against the Special Unit of the Nigeria Police in the South-South Zone. The Commission Secretary, Tony Ojukwu, explained that the public hearing became necessary following Vice President Yemi Osinbajo's directive that the Commission should investigate claims of human rights abuses against the squad. Ojukwu cautioned that the allegations of human rights violations had huge implications if nothing urgent was done to address them. The United States of America has blamed the killings in the Middle Belt and northern Nigeria on what it identified as the reign of impunity in the country. The American government has advised Nigeria to strengthen its laws to deal with killers. U.S. Embassy Deputy Chief of Mission in Nigeria, David Young, reiterated the Trump administration's condolences to families of those killed by suspected Fulani herdsmen in some communities in Barakin Ladi local government area of Plateau State. Meanwhile, the U.S. Embassy has said it will reopen its Abuja consular section on Friday. The embassy had suspended services in Abuja last week for reasons it said were beyond its control. Eco Electricity Distribution Company says it is taking steps to improve its estimated billing system. Corporate Communications General Manager Godwin Idemudia says the company has included the metering of distribution transformers to its meter rollout plan. He explained that metering the distribution transformers will enable the company to determine the amount of energy consumed in an area and that customers will be billed based on the readings from the meters installed at the transformers. The media said the efforts were being made to bridge the metering gap of customers in the area. In aviation, the National Executive Council of the Air Transport Services Senior Staff Association of Nigeria has threatened to shut down activities at airports across the country if the federal government fails to settle all labor issues before going ahead with the planned establishment of the new national carrier, Nigeria Air. Those issues include severance pay package to employees of the defunct Nigeria Airways, without which the National Union of Air Transport Employees said there will be no national carrier. The union said on Monday more than 900 Nigeria Airways workers died in avoidable health conditions while waiting for their entitlements. Coming up, African stories, and later, flooding in Italy has claimed 8 lives.
You are watching ANN.
MTN gives 2,000% bonus for reactivating your MTN SIM. That's right. If you haven't used your MTN SIM for 45 days or more, recharge now and get 2,000% bonus. That's right, 2,000% bonus for your first recharge of every month.
I am Lucy Adeyemi.
I am Rotimi Akintunde.
I am Olajumoke Olatunji. We bring you the news,
On ANN News,
business, politics,
Global News.
Watch ANN News.
In a truly African spirit. Welcome back. This is CNN News. Now to some African stories. 2 Tanzanians have been trampled to death by elephants in the north of the country. Police said on Monday a 24-year-old man and a 70-year-old woman were killed on Sunday in the district of Korowe by elephants who had left the National Kumazi Park. The park runs on from Kenya's Tsavo National Park on the other side of the border and is situated a short distance from Mount Kilimanjaro. Clashes between humans and wild animals are a growing problem in parts of East Africa as populations seek to carve out a space for themselves. Residents are injured or occasionally killed in these encounters or have their crops destroyed. Sierra Leone's President Julius Maada Bio launched his free education program on Monday for 1.5 million primary and secondary school children, starting from next month, fulfilling one of his key election pledges. Bio said he would donate free of his monthly salaries to the scheme. The president said the state would cover tuition fees and teaching materials and warned that parents would be fined or even jailed if they did not send their children to school. Bio took office 5 months ago. Melania Trump is planning her first big solo international trip to several African countries in October. The U.S. First Lady said in a written statement on Monday that she's looking forward to learning about the issues that children living on the continent face, as well as appreciating Africa's history and culture. She recently launched a U.S.-based effort focused on the well-being of children. Mrs. Trump plans to travel without President Donald Trump, who was roundly criticized earlier this year after his derogatory comment about countries in Africa was leaked to journalists. Exact date for the trip and which African countries she will visit remain to be announced. She added that she also looks forward to highlighting successful humanitarian work and development programs underway in the African countries. More than 70 people have been arrested during a day of sporadic protest in Uganda capital Kampala. They are angered by reports that opposition MP Robert Yagulanyi, also called Bobi Wine, has been tortured while in custody. A claim President Yoweri Museveni denies. Bobi Wine was one of 5 MPs arrested last week on the eve of a parliamentary by-election in Arua after President Yoweri Museveni convoy was stoned. Reports say Uganda police and soldiers closed off parts of Kampala for several hours on Monday and fired tear gas and shot rounds of bullets into the air to disperse crowds. The East African Law Society has condemned what it calls increased systemic violence, targeting persons perceived to be political dissidents to the ruling party as well as members of public seen to be openly sympathetic to their cause. Zambia Airways is said to be revived after 24 years. Africa's newest national carrier plans to begin flights later this year on 12 aircraft to destinations in Africa, Europe, the Middle East and Asia. It is expected to carry about 2 million passengers by 2018. The Zambia government's main development agency will hold a 55% stake, while Ethiopian Airlines will maintain a 45% stake. It is hoped the investment will help make the country a southern African hub to rival Johannesburg in South Africa. Zambia hopes the deal will accelerate the country's industrialization and boost tourism. The Ethiopian carrier has several similar deals in the pipeline and has also put in a bid to run Nigeria Air when it is revived. The United Nations has called on Libya's internationally recognized government to crack down on armed groups obstructing the work of state institutions in the chaos-racked country. The UN support mission in Libya, UNSMIL, expressed its strong condemnation of the violence, intimidation and obstruction to the work of Libya's sovereign institutions by militiamen. It called on the UN-backed government of National Corps to prosecute those responsible for these criminal actions. Several state institutions, including those in Tripoli, have been regular targets of harassment and intimidation by armed groups technically operating under the Guinea's Interior Ministry. The Central African Republic (CAR) has signed a military cooperation agreement with Russia, deepening relations less than a month after 3 Russian journalists were killed in the African nation. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu said the deal would help strengthen ties in the defense sphere after a signing ceremony in Moscow with his CAR counterpart Marie-Noëlle Kouyaira. A UN arms embargo on CAR was lifted for Russia in 2017. Moscow sent specialists to train the forces and some security agents to be part of President Faustin Archange Touadéra's presidential guard. The Russian journalists who were killed were investigating Russian mercenaries alleged to be active in CAR. Russian and CAR authorities labeled the killing as a robbery, but exiled former tycoon Mikhail Khodorkovsky, who was funding the journalist investigation, said the argument did not stand up to scrutiny. Authorities in the Democratic Republic of the Congo say the Ebola outbreak in the eastern part of the country has claimed 55 lives so far this month. The Health Ministry's latest bulletin said the death toll had been increased, following 5 new victims in Bamako, Magina, close to Beni, the epicenter of the outbreak in the North Kivu province. The government has announced free treatment against the disease for the next 3 months. Medical team in charge of fighting the disease revised downwards the estimated number of people who may have had contact with the virus. Still ahead, international news and later sports. FIFA wave ban on Nigeria will monitor NFF operations.
You are watching ANN.
If you know fit go internet or follow for Twitter, you know fit snap photo send or get it photo send. Now because you dey use Palasa, your phone no dey answer. See me see wahala. My brother, go get smartphone, yeah. Drop that Palasa phone. Phone wey no go for your hand, yeah. Drop that Palasa phone. Phone wey no fit take selfie. Drop that Palasa phone. No be correct phone, yeah. Drop that Palasa phone.
Upgrade to a smartphone today and get double data for 6 months on any MTN data bundle you buy. Simply purchase a smartphone from any store, anywhere in Nigeria, or bring your current smartphone from any network. Insert your MTN SIM card to start enjoying your double data bonus. Offer is open to all new and existing MTN subscribers. Join the largest smartphone movement today.
Make it known for your hand, that's Palasa phone.
Whether in your house, at your office, on your phone or online, we are there. We have the facts behind the headlines. We cut to the chase with the news you really need. We cover every angle. We are the bigger, better news network. We are African News Network. ANN. Watch ANN News on MITV from a truly African spirit.
Welcome back. This is ANN News. On the international scene, Dharamveer Singh is the leader of a team of 6 men tackling their latest tough assignment in the flood-ravaged southern India state of Kerala. They are there to safely evacuate stranded residents and to deliver supplies to flood victims who have been without food or clean water for days. Members of the Indian government's National Disaster Response Force are also working to reach isolated areas. The team navigate through narrow streets filled with up to 6 feet of filthy water to reach those cut off by the floods. 8 persons have died in flooding caused by heavy rain in the Italian region of Calabria. 6 persons, including a child, were also injured. Rescue operations started immediately after a small stream overflowed near the village of Civita. Operations are still underway in the flooded canyon area, and at least 3 more persons are missing. 23 persons have so far been rescued. More than 100 emergency resources are searching for survivors and will continue through the night. Venezuela now has a new currency in an attempt to bolster its crumbling economy. The International Monetary Fund has warned that inflation could hit 1 million% this year. This move is seen as part of measures to stop hyperinflation as thousands of Venezuelans continue to flee the borders into neighboring countries. The country is experiencing food and medicine shortages, political turmoil, and high crime rate. President Nicolas Maduro has hailed the new currency as a revolutionary formula. The new Bolivar Soberano currency is worth 100,000 old Bolivares. Taiwan has lost another diplomatic ally to China, the third ally leaving it. El Salvador announced it had severed ties with the island and had switched its allegiance to Beijing. The governments in Beijing, Taipei, and San Salvador all confirmed the development just days after Taiwan President Tsai Ing-wen visited Central and South America to cement ties with remaining allies. The loss of Central American country reduces the number of Taipei's former diplomatic allies to 17. Both Burkina Faso and Dominican Republic cut ties in May. Taiwan's Foreign Minister Joseph Wu has expressed regret over the situation. He claims the change came after Taiwan declined repeated requests from El Salvador to fund a large infrastructure project and the ruling party's election campaign. 92-year-old Lee Kyum-sum shouted Sancho when she fell into the arms of her son after 68 years of separation. Sancho was the 10th most popular name for newborn boys in the 1950s. Mother and son were separated during the Korean War and became trapped on either side of the demilitarized zone, which now splits the two Koreas. Sancho, now 71 years old, was 4 when he last saw his mother. Theirs was one of multiple emotional moments of family reunions that took place at a resort near Mount Kongan. There were 89 lucky families selected from more than 57,000 who had applied for the reunion. The Panmunjom declaration for this reunion was signed by both South Korean President Moon Jae-in and North Korea leader Kim Jong-un early this year. I can just imagine the emotion that flowed there. Up next, sports. FIFA saved Nigeria from ban. Stay with us.
You are watching ANN.
Are you sure you want to do this?
Adam, go and bring us your husband. Okay, hello baby. We're in this together, okay? Can you hear me? Keep coming forward. Wait, stop. You okay, lean to your right. Keep walking down, keep walking to the left. Yes. You're almost here. Keep going. You are here. Wow, you did it.
I'm just so glad I didn't have to use my cane to do this.
And I am so glad no other man got you before me. Let me be your eyes.
We will never stop working to give you a network you can rely on so you can enjoy life's special moments. MTN, everywhere you go.
While the world sleeps, ANN News stays awake. News takes no time off. We are awake so you can sleep. We report the stories that keep you up to date, events that affect your day, your week, month, and experiences. We scour the world, bringing it to your living room. Watch ANN News in a truly African spirit. Welcome back. This is ANN News. Now to sports. The World Football Governing Body FIFA have shelved plans to ban Nigeria from international soccer. The body cited Nigeria's pledge to abide by the protocol binding member countries. FIFA had given Nigeria till yesterday to ensure the duly elected board of the NFF led by Amaju Pinnick exercised its functions without government interference. It threatened to ban the country indefinitely if the government did not meet the terms of its protocols. Arsene Wenger and Alex Iwobi had paid tribute to Victor Moses following the Chelsea star's decision to quit international football. Iwobi, like Moses, represented England at youth levels before switching nationally and later donned the green and white colours of Nigeria. Moses brought an end to his international career by announcing his decision to stop playing for the Super Eagles. He will now concentrate fully on playing for Chelsea. That is ANN News this evening. Thank you for joining us. For details on these and other stories, visit our website, annafrica.net. Conversation continues on the social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at ANN Africa TV. I am Rotimi Akintunde. Have a pleasant evening.